I was astonished to discover that they wouldn't face the same potential sentences as a car driver. And I would think with the number of cyclists now on our roads, it's quite a dangerous area. I don't know whether you, Dawn, have been around London over the last couple of years and watched the explosion in, I'll call them Deliveroo drivers, but courier drivers. It is a very dangerous area, London. If you are thinking that the traffic light represents anything more than a vague signal to some of these cyclists that they should be stopping. It is an extraordinary moment. I don't know whether this is true, and your viewers will tell you whether it's true all over the United Kingdom, that most of the traffic signs are basically ignored by cyclists in any event. And secondly, I think the other issue to face in relation to whether they should face charges or not is also, they should also face financial charges. They should be licensed. They use a lot of the road. They dominate the road around my way anyway. And I would like to see them actually paying a bicycle tax in the same way as those of us who don't cycle pay car tax.
So how do you even legislate that, Kelvin? I mean, do you make them have number plates on their bikes?
You're doing exactly the same way as you do. You go and buy a bike. You can't buy a bike without paying a license fee. You can't be on the road without paying a license fee. What is wrong with that?
Do you know how many people just buy? Do you know how many people just buy bikes on the QT from a mate, or possibly some stolen bikes? A lot of that goes on.
This is what we have a police force for, isn't it? To say, have you got a license? And if you haven't, by the way, and I'm not talking about a 50 quid license. I'm talking about a license perhaps costing £300 or £400. This will be a serious revenue raiser, and it may actually lead to a lot of people deciding that they don't find cycling as cheap as they had previously thought.
Hold on, Kelvin. We are trying to encourage everybody to get out of their cars, get on their bikes, save the planet, Fitness, we have an obesity crisis.
I don't think the obesity crisis is being solved by cycling. In fact, the more cycles that there have been on the road, the fatter people have become. So I don't think there's a QED in relation to that. I'm in favour of keeping fit. If you can possibly keep fit, I'm sure there's lots of other ways of keeping fit. You might even try walking. Who knows? Most of the people use it in what seems to me quite an aggressive way, and perhaps we should have an aggression tax as well, since we're going to have a hole about 8 miles wide. If Liz Truss gets in and starts having unfunded taxes, perhaps my ideas might fill that hole.
Kelvin, I mean, 2019, there were 5 pedestrian deaths, including a bike, right? Meanwhile, 48 cyclists and 305 pedestrians were killed by cars. So surely it's the cars that are the danger on our road, not the cyclists.
Well, I'm not suggesting for 1 second that car drivers who kill cyclists shouldn't face the full wrath of the law. All I'm saying, when it's the other way around, I mean, I don't know whether, Dawn, you have noticed how fast the cyclists can travel now. And, 20, 30 miles an hour, downhill, I don't know, 40 or 50 miles an hour. These are very dangerous if things go wrong. So surely, Dawn, you're not in favour of actually just saying to the cyclist, I tell you what, kill who you like and get away with it. Whereas if you're a car driver, face the full wrath of the law. You're not suggesting that, are you?
No, I'm in favour of safe, responsible cycling, but I do, Kelvin, love the idea of an aggression tax, because just curious how much you would be fined. Thank you so much for joining us.
I'll be fine, but I don't rise a cycle either.